Hello everyone, my name is Kid Lee and welcome to the community feedback video for April 2017. We actually just got the big update 5.2 drop. There's a lot of stuff in there that I know have made a lot of people really happy, including the first raid boss that we have seen in quite some time. And we'll be talking about that and a few other things in this community feedback video. As always, if you have not seen this video in the past, one of my responsibilities as being a member of the BioWare Influencer Program is to actually return feedback back to BioWare. So down below in the comments, please let us know what you are currently liking or not liking about the game so I can send that feedback on to them. Joining me this week, or this month I should say, is going to be Sath. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
So just to let some people know exactly who you are, what guild are you in? What server do you play on? And what's sort of your main class right now?
Well, I'm on Jedi Covenant. That's my main server because I have a lot of characters on several servers. And the guild, well, the Republic name is Legendary Guild. We even have an imp guild called Infamy.
Nice.
And my main is Commando/Merc. Though I have on just that server alone 28 characters.
And when did you originally start playing the game? Are you fairly new, or have you been playing for a long time?
I started at launch. I've played through everything, and well, never left because I just love Star Wars.
So you're definitely someone who has got a lot of experience, it sounds like.
Yeah, you can check my achievements. There's not much in this game I haven't been able to complete.
Cool. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with what the game is doing right. What are some of the subjects you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to go over some things that are a little bit different since I've watched your other videos. And I wanted to hit things that I like that maybe not always talked about. Like, the big thing I wanted to say is, at first, the UI, okay? I've played a lot of MMOs. In fact, I currently switch around between 10 of them. And the user interface is kind of important, especially with all the things I set up to play. I love the fact that my DPS, everything I have set for it makes it easier. When I heal, I have like the entire raid frame down front and center on the screen, so that way I can see everything easier. When I tank, then the different target of target and all of that center. So it's just nice to be able to move everything. It's not a big thing, but I've played in a lot of games where you can't move that stuff around, or what you can move, you have to get add-ons and stuff like that, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to find.
So real quick here, do you think this game would benefit from the add-ons and mods and all that stuff, or do you think they should just leave it alone and not do it?
Truthfully, I like that I don't have to get add-ons. I like that they've put a lot of the stuff in that other games use through add-ons. I wouldn't mind them doing more, but I really like what we have right now.
Now, this might be a slightly different topic, but when it comes to add-ons, what do you think about adding a DPS meter into the game?
Well, I mean, I've always used, before Star Parse, Tor Parse, and stuff like that. So I've never had an issue with checking it. But yeah, that definitely would be cool if they added something to allow you to see threat generated for a tank, heals, and all that stuff without having to go outside. Because that doesn't always work sometimes.
Yeah. But no, you're definitely right. Especially back in the old WoW days, or, WildStar did it as well. It's like, oh, you have to install the Curse client, and then you've got to keep all these things updated, and it can definitely be kind of a pain sometimes.
Yeah. And for me, it's just move and change, even on my healer. It's so awesome to be able to increase the size of debuffs, to increase the damage that the health someone has. It just makes it so much easier.
Yep, absolutely.
The second thing is, this is another thing that might be small, but it's the best. out of every game I've played is character appearance. You know, yeah, you got to put a little bit of time in spending creds and stuff like that, but and it also helps sell their customizable gear. But you know, in WoW, Final Fantasy, and a lot of other MMOs, you get your new raid gear, and you have to go and take and spend for a potion or something to change the gear, and that's what it looks like, and you can't change it to something else. So every time you get a new piece of gear, because that's what you're doing, you're playing to get new gear, you have to keep changing it. And oh my goodness, that is a pain in the butt. So having this, which I feel that WildStar was the first to do it, but when they put it in Star Wars and the way they made it, it's just so nice. But it also makes me wish they would finally come up with something for weapons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, because like I'm not huge into making a ton of different appearances on my characters. Usually I only have one or two. But I like to use legacy gear, and I like all my characters to look different. So since I use legacy gear and I have 2 commandos and 2 mercs, kind of want to use the same gear for all the characters, it's nice to have.
Now, just so we can do some quick comparison, have you been playing WoW recently?
I didn't get the new expansion, but I'd say back in October, November, I was playing WoW.
Okay. So you have you messed with Legion much or not at all?
Not at all, because well, I don't have like I've played WoW off and on through the years, and so I keep on having to catch up to the newer content. So I haven't jumped into Legion just because I don't have anyone ready to really do anything at high end.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, from what I understand with Legion, they actually put in like a really good costume system into that game. I don't know if you know anything about that or not, but that's the comparison I was going to try and make if you actually had played it.
Sadly, if it wasn't there, you know, I didn't see it when I played WoW, and it was one of those things that I really didn't like. That you know, I got a costume. You know, you got your gear, and yeah, I could change something. Like I changed my swords because I got the heirlooms, but it really was once you hit a certain level, if you don't increase it, especially when you're going to get to end game and you have to get the artifact, it's just keep changing.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did something new, that's cool. I know Final Fantasy hasn't done anything different. It's one of those games that I had to pay to change the gear over and over and over. The third thing, and this is just too obvious. I can't not say it. It's the stories in Star Wars is the reason I feel that everybody plays. I mean, I can't say that the stories are bad or horrible. No, they're awesome. I love even the small story that we got with Iokath. I mean, I think a lot of people were happy that we got to choose a side, and you know, it kind of it makes me think that it'd be nice if this continues, where your story really changes and becomes something different. Because, like I said, I have so many characters. I've run. Personally, I decided that I was going to have a male and female toon, one light, one dark, of every class, so I could see every single different thing that happens through a story.
Now, as an MMO veteran, do you think there's another MMO out there that has got a better leveling game than SWTOR?
You mean as in to get through the levels, or?
Right, yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's gotten to the point where Star Wars is so fast and easy to level, and it's easy to get to the end game content. Like, besides buying a 60 or 65, if you jump on a character and just do the class stories, you're pretty much going to hit there. It's not going to take long. But the thing is, it's been like that for a while. I remember making the character that I got named for, Sath. Um, it was back in right before 2.0, and I decided to make a Chiss gunslinger, and it took me 3 days to hit 50, and I jumped right into, like, I actually had all the gear, legacy wise. I put everything in so that as soon as I hit 50, I had Rakata gear.
Yeah, kind of going back to the story, and the reason why I brought up that question is, I've also played a lot of MMOs, and I don't think there is another one out there that has a better leveling game than SWTOR. And kind of like what you said, it's just the story, the interactive cutscenes, all the dialogue. There's no other game that does that when you're going through that leveling.
Oh no, because if you go through 50 levels of WildStar, I find it mind-numbing. The story's horrible. You just want to hit 50 as fast as possible. Now, other ones can have an okay story, but it's just one story.
Right.
So it's hard to level a bunch of characters in a lot of different games when it's just, this is your story and that's all you got. Final Fantasy, they have one story. And again, you don't have to do it again, which is nice because you have one character to be all the classes. But then going up and leveling, just you try and find something to make it easier. It's not a quick thing. But yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of just the small things in Star Wars that I think that are so much better than every other game.
Yep, absolutely. I've always, like, the map. This is kind of going back to the UI for a second, but the map in particular, one thing that I love about the map in SWTOR is if you're a group with people, you can see exactly where they're at. You can see what quests they're on. There's all the little markers. And I don't think there's another MMO out there that does a better map design than SWTOR. Because one thing that I hate is jumping into these new MMOs and you're grouped up with somebody and you're like, okay, where are my friends at? What quests are they doing? Where's my quest? And it just seems like nobody can quite nail down the map design right.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do group content, or group together to do content, even leveling, it's just so hard. Like, you don't know where you're going, you don't know how to get there, and a lot of things. It's nice, is because I'll just point out Final Fantasy. When I'd have a quest, I'd be so lost on how to get somewhere. I had to ask people. There was no way to follow a story. I guess some people might like that, but yeah, I like the quest markers, like you said. I like things highlighted. When I look at the map, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just wanted to say again, with Ayakath, I really like that on my imp I could go Republic, on my pub I could go imp. It's just a really big difference, although I have not yet found that I can kill Quinn, so I'm kind of irritated.
One of these days.
Tell you what, he was the first one my Sith warrior was my first 50, and I so badly wanted to kill Quinn.
So what else do you got?
Well, I'm gonna kind of switch to, I guess, the bad things.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try and make it sound as horrible as sometimes I feel that it is, but in fact, the first thing I say, probably most people ain't even gonna agree, but one of the things that has bothered me because I've played over the years is how much the classes have changed. And I'm not saying that I don't like the changes of classes and the growth, but have you ever played a Scoundrel or Operative?
Yeah.
Did you play in 1.0?
Not that particular class, but other ones.
Okay. Back in the day, the Operative was the mobile healer. You had HOTS. You didn't have no powerful heals, but you could run. For people like me that had ADHD, you didn't have to stand still. It was nice to be able to move around, heal people, and always be on the go. And I loved it. I loved that, and I still love that I can stealth out and res somebody in the middle of combat. But they changed the feel of that class so much, it's almost a standstill AoE healer more than anything else. Where the Sork, that was the standstill AoE power healer.
Right.
And that's what you did. And now they're the mobile. They're more mobile and focused on single target. And then, now I'm not going to say this is bad, because at first the mercenary was kind of horrible. Nobody wanted to play it because you were really only a solo healer. You can only, okay, you heal the tank, because that's all you were good at. So there was definitely improvements over the years that they made with the classes, especially with healing and balancing them out. But it kind of bothers me that the purpose of the class that was originally created is completely gone. Also, with the class changes, it kind of bothers me that we get a flavor of the month DPS. I mean, the Sage Sork was a powerhouse. Now they're the crap. I don't get that. Why can't it be that every class is just as equally strong? Now, yeah, you want the dot to be a little bit more powerful, because if you don't do it right, but it shouldn't be where we have to, where they have to make one class way strong, and then the one that was strong they make real weak. It just feels like it changes so much that I kind of wonder if they're just doing it to make people switch classes.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the puzzling things about these MMOs, and it seems like nobody can ever get class balance right. I mean, you might know another MMO that maybe does it better, but like right now, it's Merc is the hot one. But yeah, it's like I remember when it was Lightning Sork. It was Lightning Sork is what you wanted to do, and then, as you kind of said, everything's kind of bounced around a little bit. And actually, back to the healing thing for a second. That was actually my first main back in 1.0 was actually a Merc healer. And
that was tough, wasn't it?
The guns alone, where you just had to keep spamming your gun over and over, and it made that noise, it just drove people nuts.
Yeah, my main for a long time was the operative healer. I used to heal a lot. I got my Wings of the Architect on my healer. And, it's fun, but it's really tough because, I remember in 4.0 doing Temple Sacrifice hard mode. And I go in and we're doing the first boss. And I'm healing between 8 and 9k effective heals on that first boss. Then I go to the walkers, and I'm getting less than 4, like 3.2k effective heals, because you can't stand still in that fight. And so I can't use an AoE heal, which is the strongest thing I have. I can't cast my power heals to save someone's life. I can only do a few hots and run like crazy, and I can't be effective. And it bothered me because it was funny. I went to my lesser geared Sork, and I go in and I kick butt, and I'm doing 7k heals.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's where and it's funny because I put this in the forums that it really bothered me, and people were like, nah, that's not true. I'm like, I know it's true. I'm doing it. The Sork's an easier character to heal on. And I don't mind that. I still love the operative over the Sork. Mm-hmm. I just would like some mobility. Like, Orbital Strike, when they took it away, I understood completely. But it was a 1-second cast to create a dot. So why wasn't Kolto Wave a 1-second cast to create a hot of that size? Then you could be moving around. Then that ability could be set, and people can run in it if they need heals.
Yeah, makes sense.
Getting past that, and I'd have to say that this might not sound like the greatest argument, but the slow addition of new things in this game, and I know we got an op boss, but it took 3 years. And I know they have stuff, but when you give us something new, it should be something new. Like, you know, when they came up with the new event, Light versus Dark, well, that kind of was annoying. I already made, I don't know how many characters, 25? I already did the story over and over. Every single thing that I had to do for that event, I've done way beyond what they were even asking, but I had to do it all again if I wanted this stuff.
Oh yeah, that event just boggles my mind. Why would you put an event in the game that 100% of the current characters cannot participate in?
Well, you could, if you don't mind doing the same stuff. I mean, seriously, it should have been called the new player event.
Right.
If you're a new player, we got something for you. But, you know, and then now I'm happy that light side won and I got the companion I wanted. But I think that should have been, if you went dark, you should have won the dark companion. If you went light, you should have got the light companion based on what you did, not on a community as a whole. I don't know, it just felt kind of like, well, you win what everybody else wants.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that the game needed like a really good light versus dark system of some description, and I think we kind of got it with the new one, but it's still not quite where I would like to see it. Now, you might remember in the early days of this game, when the game first launched, there were only 4 lightsaber colors.
Yep.
There was your red, your blue, your green, and then the pre-order black, yellow. And that was it. And initially, if you wanted to actually use a red one or a blue one or a green one, you actually had to be aligned with that side. And then now we've got
yellow was the only one that went either.
Yeah, and now we've got every color of the rainbow of lightsaber. But yeah, I'd love to see a much better light versus dark system. I mean, the one they've got in now with Galactic Command, and, you know, as people are just doing stuff, the bar's moving and all that, I think that's a neat idea, but I just wish they would expand on it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't know about you, one of the few things I haven't done is I don't know when the light side wins or loses where you go find these people to defeat and how you get a group together to do this. You know, it's something I haven't really taken part of, other than when the light side's winning, I try and do more so I can get more Galactic Command points, because, I hate Galactic Command. But, and I don't know many people that don't. It's not that I hate Galactic Command. I hate that they don't understand how to reward you.
Yep.
You know, when they came out with, and I don't know if you got it, because I got, at least for me, I got that statue as a gift for being subbed the entire 5 years. And then they came out on one video on Twitch and said, we gave this to you because we want you to feel rewarded. Wait, you gave me a crappy statue that I had only one, even though 20-some characters have it, only one can use, and that's feeling rewarded? I was like, you just took crap, put it in a box, and said, here, this is what I think of you.
Yeah.
I don't understand, because that's the problem with Galactic Command. Galactic Command would have been better if it wouldn't have been strip away all the in-game material from ops and stuff like that. Leave it alone, or even add more to it. But to take and make Galactic Command a slower progression to where you got tokens, and what you did with them was go and buy mods, enhancements, and armorings, and all the stuff legendary. And you could have kept it to 3 tiers, 1, 2, and 3. But then when you got a rank, you could have picked what you needed, because sometimes you don't have a piece of gear and you need to get better in that. And then you're picking something you want, not just getting, well, I got my third pair of boots.
Yep.
Or this is the 10th implant I've gotten. Of course, it's still blue because I've never seen a purple. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. On my main character, I was level or rank 78 before I got my second piece of purple gear.
Yeah, and I've heard some pretty crazy stories. People in the hundreds before they, get their first set piece, or 200 or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so the idea is they don't know how to reward you. They don't know how to make you feel like you've worked for something and you got it. And that's why I see legendary gear is cool, because the first time they introduced it was in the Chevron event, and you only got it in those bowcasters. And I still got mine because, well, I'm never going to see this again. And, so it's nice that they put in legendary gear. And I think that should be the reward, but not if you're lucky.
Well, since we're talking about Galactic Command, I want to get your opinion on something. As assuming Ben Irving has left SWTOR, and he was basically, as some people say, he was the brainchild of this system. And now that he's gone and we've got Keith in taking over his role, some people are saying that he's going to make the game a lot better. Just so, what's your general opinion on that, or thoughts?
Well, truthfully, I've been hearing the same thing. I didn't know nothing about Keith, and when it popped up, I was like, "Wow, really? That's awesome!" Because yeah, I'd rather somebody who has a ton of alts and who's playing the game and is serious about playing the game, being a little bit more in control. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm mad at Ben, because I don't know why he did what he did. I just think, again, they don't get what rewarding is. But I'm definitely happy when I hear somebody who's a gamer wants to control a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I play a lot of MMOs, but more, I'm a tabletop gamer. From way back. I've been playing games like for almost 30 years now. And I love role-playing, and I love gaming. And so the type of thing I want is something run by that type of person. I don't know exactly what to expect. Time will tell. But if it changes, I'll be happy. Like I said, they don't have to get rid of Galactic Command. They need just to change the idea of what it is. If you want to make a rewarding system for playing the game, and the more you play it, because I'm not the type of person that thinks the best gear goes into ops, and if you don't do ops, you don't deserve it. I hate elitism. Now I've done the hard stuff. Like I've gotten nightmare achievements, and I've done even the stuff that you, like in S&V, the nightmare 16-man to kill the one boss that you had to get the masks for. I love that stuff, but I don't see why this person who plays solo and does a lot of the game shouldn't be able to get the really cool gear to make that stuff easier for them. Because in the long run, when you have crappy gear because you can't get the high-end game gear, when you go into a mission, and they are making these missions, especially story, tougher, even in story mode, and now since they have veteran and master, you'll never be able to do it because you're not in an op? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely giving more options are always better, I guess, is one way to say it.
Yeah, and I've watched you talk about a lot of things, and I really like a lot of what you say in your videos, and I support you because I agree. It'd be nice for them to add things, and it feels like without a new expansion, without something that we pay for, I don't know if we'll get things. So I'm saying that to say this is the third thing that makes me mad about Star Wars. The cartel market.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say that there's anything I hate more than the cartel market. And not that it exists, but what they did. I mean, they put out a lightsaber that they already made. This wasn't brand new. It already exists out there. If you want it, here, pay $60. If that is not a money grab or a kick in the nuts, what is? I felt so insulted. I don't want the damn thing. I'm not paying that much money for it. But what are they trying to get out of it? To me, it's what EA is. EA is how much money can we get out of the same piece of material for the least amount of work so that we can get rich?
Yep, absolutely. And I was going to say the word I think, but I can pretty much say I know that SWTOR has quotas, monthly, weekly, whatever it happens to be. And whenever they see their numbers and it seems like they're not going to meet their numbers, there go the cartel items. Here's your lightsaber, here's your new mount for 60, 40, 30, whatever dollars. It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
And you know what? I don't mind that they want to sell things. Fine. But how about selling things we want? Things that matter. Make new advanced classes. You don't have to make a new class with a whole new story. But imagine this. A new advanced class on every single class that actually has a tank spec, a DPS spec, and a heal spec. And you can even take what already exists, say the Merc / Power Tech. You take the tank spec from the Power Tech, the heal spec from the Merc, and either or of a DPS spec from one of those two. You put it in a new advanced class. This way, a person can build on one character, have all three options on that one character, and it's something different, something they didn't have to put a lot of effort into, although I wish they'd put more effort into it than what I'm saying, and they sell it for like $5. And you do that for each class, pub, and imp. That's gonna make you money. And people like me, I'll buy that. I'll spend money if you're gonna give me new things, a new race, not re-imaged crap that has existed for a while. I don't care about, like, I like the cosmetic stuff, but I'm not gonna spend no money on it.
Do you know if there's any other MMOs that are doing that? Like an actual pay for advanced class or anything like that?
There is an MMO that allows you to pay for content, DLCs, like Elder Scrolls. I mean, I don't know if you ever played Elder Scrolls Online.
Briefly.
The cool thing is this: they came out with like different DLCs, like the Brotherhood. Allows you to be an assassin and go through a story all about assassins, and it is so fun. It's worth every penny to buy the DLC. And I bought the DLCs for the Thieves Guild, and it's a lot of fun to have that type of thing. And you know, to me, that would be another thing. We want story. I personally like the options, like they cut out all those different class stories for one single story and didn't really give much option to it. So then how about this? Come out with a story for Force using like Jedi, and come out one for Imperial and sell the stories. If it's a thing where they need money for something, all I'm saying is sell something that we want. Something that actually is like a DLC, an upgrade, something new. That's why I say, you know, I'd be happy with a paid expansion.
Back to your Elder Scrolls example, do you know off the top of your head like how much that little story expansion, how much did that cost, and then how much content was in it like hour-wise? Do you happen to know?
I can't give you exact numbers, but I can say this. Like one of them was like they sell crowns just like the cartel coins, and it's basically the same price. So there was one that was like 1,500 crowns, and another one that was 2,000. I bought the whole thing for like 4,500, which is about $40, and I have not been able to get through all the content yet. It's definitely a lot. It's not just something like, oh, here's a small little story done and over with.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give the people some examples of what, these other companies or other MMOs are doing. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think that for a free-to-play model, Elder Scrolls is really good. And I know Star Wars doesn't, a lot of people complain about the free-to-play model. In fact, when I mentioned to some of my guildies I'd be talking to you, some people were like wanting me to talk about the free-to-play thing, and it's not supposed to be great. It's supposed to be, here's this game. Look how cool it is. Don't you want to sub? And so I'm not going to sit here and say I hate the fact that the free-to-play doesn't get everything. I also don't care that they get some things. Some people also complain that if you pay for a month, you now got McCab, which you never paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's old stuff. Go ahead, give it to them. I want other people to play. I don't want 5 people on a server. In fact, way back in the day, I was on a server that literally 2 people were on a planet at a time before the server merged. So, yeah, I definitely don't mind having a lot of people around. I don't know how to else to say it, but I don't care about the free-to-play model as saying it's horrible or it is what it is for a reason. And I think it's important that they get a taste, because I think Star Wars is that good. I think Star Wars is that fun. I mean, in all honesty, you could play this game for free and experience every class and all the cool story for nothing.
Yep.
And truthfully, even if that's all you ever did, that's worth money to me. That the beginning of this game is so fun. The problem is we've hit this dry spout, and when they gave us this new content, I don't know how long did it take you to get through everything?
I actually need to do a timed run because I've had a lot of people asking me that, because I ended up streaming it, and when you're streaming it, I'm doing it like 3 times slower than normal.
Yeah.
So I think I did a stream of 2.5 hours, and I still hadn't gotten through it because I was messing around so much.
Yeah, it definitely won't take you that long if you just go straight through. And I'm not complaining. I'm cool with giving us something every 2 months. I like when this whole thing about bosses coming out one at a time. I'm definitely okay with that. I don't have a problem because we're getting bosses. I just want the content to come. I understand it's going to take a while for them to make it, but getting it's better than not getting it.
Yep, and they've already announced for 5.3 that there will be more story content in that one as well.
And that's what I was hoping. I was hoping that each time they put out a new world boss, they'll put out a new story. They'll put out a little bit of everything. I wouldn't mind a new Flashpoint. But I have to agree, somebody said something about the Uprisings. I think they gave us too much too fast. I think they should have done 3 at a time and stretched it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think some people have overdone it and burned themselves out on it. And that's the problem. If you give a big amount to somebody, they sometimes don't know when to stop. and then they don't want to do it anymore. I refuse to do that. I will not push. Like, there's still characters I've not done the story on, like Knights of the Fallen Empire, because I like spreading it out enough to when I go back in it, it still feels a little bit fresh, and at least the choices I make are fun. So, like, when everybody was pushing through the first 2 chapters over and over again for the CXP, because everybody's like, oh, look, we can get tons of CXP. I didn't push. I don't care. I'm not 300. I don't know when I'll be 300, and I don't care when I'll be 300. I want to enjoy the game.
Yeah, I
don't want to push for a number.
Yeah, I'm actually the same way. I think my highest is 100 and, I don't know, 120 maybe is all.
Well, I got that beat. I got 189, but that's only one character. Every
Yeah.
other one's way under 100.
Yep.
But yeah, I want this game to be as fun as it was in the beginning, and I know if I go after things just to hit it, like I need to hit that number, well then it's no fun. I don't mind that we're getting gear out of a crate, but I like being able to work for specific things. I'm so happy. You know, this since it's come out, my guild has been doing a lot of runs almost every single night now because we can go and get loot out of ops.
Yeah.
It means the world to me. It's such a big difference because now I can play my third or fifth alt of the same character because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to play a ton of characters. It felt like, and the sad thing is, you know, talking about WoW earlier, they did the same thing. Here's your artifact weapon. Now spend all your time on this one character to make this thing so much better. Galactic Command really pushed the idea of here, play one character and one character alone.
Yep.
And you know, I mentioned our imp guild. It died because everybody said, well, I'm only going to play on the pub side. That's where most of our guildies are. So this whole Galactic Command killed everything that I made because I ran the imp guild and I put so much into it, and we were playing, and it was hard to do a hard mode, even an easy one, because people didn't have tunes up to 70 yet.
Actually, going back to the Tithe fight for just a second, what do you think of that fight? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I love that it's so different with, you know, we get ads, okay, and a lot of fights, but it was really cool that the ads were so different and there was a different way to attack them. And so there's a lot of strategy. And well, since we heard that no one on our guild has hit beat veteran yet, our raid teams are working on it. It's the first time I think we've ever wanted to try and hit server first. But I really like that fight. I think it's really cool that they. I love every fight in this game. I think the mechanics in a lot of fights are just so much fun. The ops are great, and like I said, my guild is an op guild. That's what we love about this game. And so, for the 3 years that we didn't get nothing, my guild dropped from, I'd say, close to 120 accounts to 60 some accounts. Yeah. I think people will come back if there's more, but it's been so slow.
Yep. And I've heard a lot of people say, you know, as far as feedback, they say, "Oh, my raiding guilder people aren't going to return until all these bosses are in," and, you know, stuff like that. And I think they should almost get started a little sooner than that.
Yeah, I guess, you know, some people are different and have different ideas of what they want. One of the cool things to me is that the way they're bringing it out, you see, you can just click to go to which one, and I think it's going to be great when it comes to the end. You don't have to go in order. You could click to go to whatever boss. You can do however many bosses, and I'm hoping they stick to that so that when you get the achievement, they put the achievement for, you know, usually we get the achievement for completing only the last boss. I'd kind of like to see the achievement is something that's for completing every boss. So you can't just jump to the end and you could go in any order. I don't know. I just think that'd be a little bit different than what we were used to.
Yeah. Hopefully, they'll have us testing the next boss here pretty soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, some of my friends actually got to do the test, and it was just kind of funny because every time somebody says something, the people are there. I can neither confirm nor deny. So none of us knew anything except the one raid team that went in. They knew, and the fact that some of them were still there, because some of those people were close to quitting the game, it was a good sign for me because they were still playing, so it seemed like they were happy with it.
Well, as we sort of wrap this thing up, any other things you want to talk about?
I guess, yeah, there's just one thing that I kind of want to hit on, and I guess it deals with a lot of the stuff. You know, going back to the cartel market, the ideas of spending, I would really wish that they would consider something to give us access to, like you talked about before, speeder races.
Oh yeah.
Or, I thought what would be really cool is to have a PvE version of Galactic Starfighter where you're doing kind of like almost a spaceship style Flashpoint.
That's one of my dreams.
Yeah. And it looks like a dream that can't happen unless we pay for it in some way. So that's why I kind of hope they consider either making that, selling it on the cartel market, or giving us an expansion. Because I know a lot of people in my guild would really love to see new things. Of course, there's a lot of things that they complain about, and it's understandable. I mean, we're never going to be 100% satisfied with everything. Everybody has a different idea and a different thing that they'd like to see. But anything moving forward, I think, is good. Because most of the people in Star Wars right now who's been around don't want this game to end. And it's felt so close to ending sometimes. And everybody who plays that I know is diehard Star Wars fans. So, the idea of running around with a lightsaber is awesome. It makes me worry when EA is the only ones that can make Star Wars games that they'll back off so they could push something else.
Yep. And of course, there's the rumors that they're maybe working on SWTOR 2 because they actually want to do another MMO, but they need it on a newer engine, and that this engine is so old they can't do much with it, and so maybe there's something to that. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I've heard that stuff too, that it's going to be a little bit different. And I don't know what to think. Years ago, 2009, I saw the Deception trailer, and all I can say is the idea of getting into an MMO really wasn't there until I saw that. So I knew I was going to get this game no matter what. It was what I wanted. This is the first time I was so looking forward to a new game. Because I like to play a lot of different games, and I'll buy them and I'll play them, but there was nothing. I mean, I was so into wanting to play this game that I was in the forums and talking to people and just trying to find anything out. So if they go with a new game and this game then is dead, I guess it would kind of be sad. And I'm not going to say it would be bad, because if they are, a lot of things would be great if they had a better engine.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I actually like about WildStar is I believe out of all the MMOs, WildStar is actually on the newest engine, and that game runs really good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And the mobility for every class, I kind of like how combat works in that game.
Yep.
It makes it fun.
Now, I don't know if you ever heard my stories or not, but I'm an old SWG player.
Doesn't surprise me, but no, I didn't know.
But that's another example of, well, this was back when SOE had the license, or at least part of the license. But that was, and I still consider that to be the best MMO ever made. But we had
until they updated it and ruined it.
Yeah, exactly.
The first guild in SWTOR that I joined actually was a guild from that game, and they all left after like 6 months because it wasn't going to be like that game.
Yep.
Have you played on any of those? I mean, they still have the game around. Have you played on engines that, not engines, servers that people are running?
I have not, because I want to say that I looked a couple of months ago, and technically none of them are done yet.
Oh,
There's a
I
lot
have
of them.
buddies who are playing.
Yeah, there's a lot that are like really close to being done, but like none of them are 100%.
All I know is that it's two of my guildies got into it about a month ago because they said you needed to have the discs in the original game.
Yep.
And it's all before they did the updates that ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they've been playing a lot of.
And I have like 4 copies of those discs, so
I never got the game. So sad.
But I mean, kind of where I was going with that is, that was a Star Wars MMO that ended up getting shut down because just a lot of people weren't playing it, and this one, as you kind of said, is kind of along the same lines. So I wonder if they will shut it down to try and do something new. Hard to say.
Yeah, it is, and I could think of reasons that it would be good and reasons that it would be bad. So I'm not going to say I hope they do it or I hope they don't do it. I don't know what the future is going to hold with it, but I just know that I really don't want to lose this game. Yeah, but I would love a newer engine with the ability to do things that they don't do.
Yeah, I mean, I would love a more action-based combat, whether it be WildStar-like or Terra Online. I think something like that for a Star Wars game would just be amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also I kind of wish they'd step away from, if they redo it, step away from the faction thing. Because I think it would have been cooler if while you leveled up, and the perfect example is the Trooper story, and you get to the end of the Trooper story where Havoc Squad is joining the Imperial side, and you could have said, okay, I'm coming with you, or no, I'm Republic, and the story would have changed.
Yep, I've actually said that in some videos as well.
Yeah, I think that would have been so much cooler. And then the Smuggler could have been more of a class that it's meant to be, not really picking a side. Because it kind of doesn't feel the same with a Bounty Hunter. I know they push it to one side and the other, but it doesn't really feel like that.
Yeah, and like back in Star Wars Galaxies, hate to go back to that one, but when you make a character, you started neutral, and so you could stay neutral or you could choose a side. So
yeah, one of the things that's cool in Final Fantasy is you don't have factions. When you hit a certain level, you join a grand company, and there's 3 of them. So that's what you do for PvP. Whatever grand company you're in is your group. So you could do the same thing in Star Wars, where you'd have like the factions of the Republic or Imperial or even the Hutts being something that you join outside of the story and be able to, maybe even switch sides.
Yeah. So many options.
So that's why I definitely am going to say I would not complain about something new. It could be better. It really could. But I'd hate to see this game go.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you've been playing it, covering it for a little over 5 years. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things change this year, especially now with Keith sort of, I guess, in charge. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. And
that gives me hope that they're not looking to get rid of it.
Yeah. So I think the final thing I'll say is sort of hankering back to something you were saying earlier. I cannot confirm or deny that I know anything about PvE space battles. Okay, moving on. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Any sort of final words?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I really enjoy your videos. I'm glad I got the chance to talk to you. I'm hoping that people will talk, and I really hope that feedback does make a change and does improve some things. I really want them to step away from some of the horrible decisions they made and really consider the players, because that's how a game survives. You know, you look at a lot of MMOs and where the people running the game care. You can see it, and the players never want to leave because of it.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, thank you for watching the video. Once again, leave your feedback and comments down below the video. But yeah, that'll go ahead and do it. So everybody keep playing, have fun, and we'll see you next time.